The grip of addiction is not something most people think about unless they know someone struggling with it.
It's horrible. It's a very lonely existence.
This is Daryl. We met him on Hamilton Street in Allentown in 2023.
I have to have dope every day. If I don't, I get extremely sick.
At the time, he had been using heroin for nearly a decade.
I'd relapse, get clean, relapse. And it was like this never-ending cycle.
Daryl was living on the streets with his wife, who was also an addict. He would often panhandle to get money for his next fix. His hands were red and swollen.
My feet are completely numb.
His body was covered in sores from heroin tainted by the animal tranquilizer xylazine or trank.
That one's like 3 months old.
We asked Daryl about his xylazine sores. He was bleeding when we talked to him.
I think I was injecting there, and I just didn't care to clean it up.
Across the street from where we did our interview is Change on Hamilton Recovery Center.
Yeah, what's up, man?
How are you?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Hanging, man.
Good. I'm glad you came by today. I got something for you.
Keith Smith is the program director.
We get a lot of foot traffic, and I get people that come in here all the time, and between the xylazine and the fentanyl and the meth, I see so much devastation.
Change on Hamilton has become a safe space for Daryl, who comes here for coffee, fresh clothes,
Well, you got some clean socks in there.
and the occasional meal. Each time he comes in,
I don't know what it is. It's stopping me.
Keith encourages him to get help.
I don't think you like to get high. I think you've gotten so conditioned to it that you don't like yourself not high.
That's exactly.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
On this day, Daryl wasn't ready, choosing instead to go back to the streets.
I don't necessarily know that heroin or whatever the stuff is will actually kill me. Because I keep overdosing and I'm not dying.
The next time we heard from Daryl was in March of 2024. We spoke to him from Northampton County Jail.
The last time I talked to you, you looked pretty rough and didn't sound very good. You sound a lot better. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I put on like 50 pounds.
Daryl was arrested for retail theft. He told us it saved his life and that he hadn't been clean this long for 10 years.
I'm over it. Like I'm not going to go back to using. It's always the same outcome. Death or jail. It doesn't change. I've been through this process 30 times. You know, you can't just do one. It's just that, I don't know what it is that calls me to go out and stick a needle in my arm.
So how is this time different than the other 30 times?
Honestly, I'm getting older. My body is telling me it's like I'm having a lot of physical problems. Like my body just hurts. I'm 40 years old. I have a really, really good wife. She wants sobriety, and if I'm not going to do it for me, I got to do it for her and my family.
After 6 months, Daryl was released. He reunited with his wife. They got an apartment. Things were good for a while, but before the end of the year, he relapsed. The sores on his legs and feet became so bad, he wound up in the hospital. Doctors telling him he might have to have one of his feet amputated. Daryl was so scared, he checked out. Daryl has survived his addiction partly due to the kindness of others, people like William Delgado, a man who has dedicated his life to helping vulnerable folks like Daryl.
We're going right here by this pole in front of us to the left here.
William took us to look for Daryl in December of 2024.
Hello?
He brought along sandwiches and water,
Big dog, it's me, Will.
knowing Daryl would be hungry.
This is where he was sitting, okay,
We walked down to Daryl's campsite by the river.
with his addiction, right? Suffering and having all that pain. This is where they sat. This is where they slept here. And it's obvious this is all of their belongings here.
Daryl wasn't there. Looking around, we see needle guards and packages of Narcan scattered on the ground.
This is hopeless.
Trash, shopping carts, and bags of clothing are piled up.
What goes through my mind is just what would draw someone to come back and come here and live this way?
But William says it's not just Daryl living here. He says the crisis by the river is much bigger than one person.
People come down here that feel outcasted, and most of them are addicts, and this is where they stay.
William takes us to the other side of the river.
This is a big problem in Allentown?
Very big problem. The addiction's a very big problem.
William tells us from what he's seeing here and on the streets, he's worried the Lehigh Valley is about to be hit by a wave.
The wave with the fentanyl and the trank that's coming in.
There's a new trank, right?
New trank, the rhino trank. That stuff has these people, you know, it affects the nervous system, and it's not even, a human body can't even hold that kind of stuff.
We walk past several tents, but keep our distance.
What do you see, Jackie, when you come down here?
Despair.
Yeah.
William says this is a very dangerous place to be. He spots someone by one of the tents.
All right, let's put the camera down. My man, you want something to eat?
And goes over to give them the sandwiches.
I go out and I just look for the folks that are in need, right? Especially the addicts. They're out there all day long. It's just, it's out there. I mean, how can you miss it? How can you walk by and not see the hopelessness, right? And so I like to just extend my love, and just whatever it is that they need, I try to help them as best as I can.
And you're trying to do that with Daryl, but Daryl's a hard case, right?
I'm trying to do that with Daryl. It's kind of hard with Daryl. The addiction, it's not Daryl, it's the addiction. And the addiction has grasped him in a way that he's willing to die.
In 2025, we go back to the river. The tents are still there. The inhabitants are braving the elements. It's a bitter, cold, windy day. We spot a man walking. It's Daryl. He agrees to meet us later at Change on Hamilton.
Once you recognize that something's broke, then we can start the process of fixing it, like your soul, your spirit.
When Daryl takes off his coat, we can see he's lost a lot of weight.
Where are we going here?
He has trouble walking and says he got high before coming in.
You know, my artery exploded walking down the street, rushed me in the hospital, all from sticking a needle in myself. Like, I just can't believe this. And now I can't feel my fingers. Like my hands are numb. I can't make a face. Like, what the hell is going on, man?
It's the drugs. It's the drugs, Dal, and the lifestyle. It's suffering.
Keith tries to get Daryl to go back to the hospital.
The devil is just laughing at me.
Because he's in such bad shape. His hands are swollen. His feet and ankles are wrapped with gauze.
The one thing that has to happen is that you have to become a part of the help. You know what I'm saying? So we can help you here, and we have, and we will continue to. My hope is that at some point you will help us to help you.
When am I going to be? Am I at rock bottom yet? No, I'm not. What's going to be rock bottom when I actually do lose my left leg?
Well, here's the thing about
or both
bottom.
of them.
You know when you reach your bottom? When you say, I've had enough. You know what I'm saying?
It's a tough conversation that comes on an important day for Keith.
22 years ago today, I hit my bottom. And today I celebrate, today, March 5th, 22 years clean. And there was a time when I didn't think that was a possibility. Like, that wasn't even possible. I lost everything.
After the chat with Keith, Daryl sat down with us.
This is the worst I've ever been in my entire life.
Daryl says he and his wife have split up because she wants to be sober.
Why not go and get clean and do the things?
I don't know. I'm not really sure why I'm not doing it. I'd like to get high, and there's a reason for that.
And when you ask him what that reason is,
I don't know. Maybe I'm so used to this lifestyle, and then I'm afraid I'm going to lose my leg. But I can't manage my life without drugs and without chaos and without all this crazy stuff going on. You know, I'm better at maneuvering with chaos, you know what I mean? Because I've been doing it my whole life.
So again, Daryl returns to life on the streets. His addiction has cost him his marriage, the trust of his family, and he could lose one or more of his limbs.
This is how phenomenal that this and powerful and mysterious this disease is, because it goes a little bit beyond the drug itself. It's a disease that lives in your spirit, that kind of takes over your soul.
While this story doesn't have a happy ending now, there is a spark of hope. Daryl is still alive and continues to have the support and encouragement of people like Keith and William, who say they will stay by his side until he is finally able to break the grip of addiction.
If we keep on believing in him and others like him, if we keep believing and we keep the doors open and we keep allowing people to feel welcome, to feel not judged, to feel accepted, to feel like they're worth the extra effort that we're putting in, that eventually they'll come to believe it.